Welcome to Daily Success. Listen in on these personal conversations with today's leaders, innovators, and influencers as they discuss daily success principles, systems, and solutions. Get ready for daily success. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited because I have met someone that everybody needs to know if you're interested in having daily success with your online presence, with your website, with your marketing. And it is Kimberly Weitkamp. I hope I said your name right. I normally ask before I start, but I'm pretty sure I got it right because I've talked to you before. So I want to tell everybody a little bit more about you before we get into what your giveaway is, because what you're actually giving away is really cool because it's a 5-day challenge to better website conversions. So let me tell everybody about you first, Kimberly, just so that we all know that we're dealing with somebody who's like, let's say, the real deal. It's funny because some of the language I use, like I might say, wow, that's neat. That dates me. But everything that you're doing it's a really phenomenal strategy that can help people to get exactly what they want, which is more clients, which equals more income. And so it's really important. So let me tell you a little bit more about Kimberly. She's a successful marketing strategist, podcaster, and conversion copywriter. Right there, conversion copywriter. Keep that in mind. Working with her clients, she noticed that people were struggling to create and understand the big picture in their marketing. So she developed the audience conversion method to help entrepreneurs draw in or magnetize the right people with the right message at the right time. So I think that's important right there. You've got to attract the right people with the right message at the right time. So it's not necessarily rocket science, but there is like a recipe to success. And Kimberly combines the principles of great customer service with easy learning, and that will help companies regularly sell out their programs to increase brand awareness campaigns and lead nurturing sequences. So right there, if you just really take that one sentence about getting in front of your customers, giving them great customer service and something that you can easily learn how to do and keep doing for consistency, that can easily lead to daily success. So she's helped several entrepreneurs and business owners around the globe create long-term customer relationships with the right audience. And I guess in today's terms, you would call that relationship marketing, but in old school language, it would just be called treat people the way you would like to be treated, and you'll get that reciprocal action back because people want to be treated right and be treated like humans. I think that's so important. So Kimberly helps you discover a new, more authentic approach to marketing that, of course, centers around loyal customers who will rave about your products. And when you have all the right pieces in place, then you can create those powerful relationships with your buyers that will go on and on and on for years and years. And that's really what we want. We want to be working with people who really love us and who love our services and our products. So welcome, Kimberly. I'm really excited for you to tell me more about how we can get better conversions.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me back, Tammy. I'm really excited to be here and talk about conversions and marketing. It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Well, I want to take this time, and again, I invited you back because when we did our first interview, it was like, wow, this is really great value. And I wanted to be able to provide more people with your greatness. So I said, okay, she needs to be in the daily success giveaway because people can come in and they can get something of really good value just by showing up and asking, which I think is actually the beginning of that great customer relationship, provide value. So tell me more about the audience conversion method. What is it?
Yeah. So basically, when I was working with clients, a lot of them would approach me with a single idea in their mind about what they wanted for their marketing. They would say, okay, I need a blog post, or I need an email, or I need a sign up form, that kind of a thing. And I would ask them about where the people they were trying to connect with, how they were going to interact with that piece of marketing. I would say, okay, where are they coming from? Where are they going to? And they wouldn't really be able to tell me about the next step for them. They knew they needed to do XYZ marketing because that's what's important, or that's what provides great conversions. But anytime you're talking about creating a marketing piece, you need to be able to know where your audience is, who they are, and kind of where they need to go next. So basically what I did was I created kind of a step-by-step process that I kind of walk my clients through so they can kind of establish all of those very important things to have in place before creating any type of marketing. And the first step with the audience conversion method is, of course, to define your audience. Because a lot of the people I've spoken with in the past, they want to serve everyone, which is a really great and lofty goal. But when talking about marketing, especially in the days where, all of us have Netflix, or we have Pandora or Spotify, and we're really used to getting things that are personalized to us. So when you have really general marketing, because you're trying to reach everyone, it doesn't provide as great of a customer experience. So the first step for the audience conversion method is to really define your audience and kind of really dig down and give an idea of to who those particular people are that you want to attract, which goes back to what you were talking about, which is making sure you have the right audience with the right message at the right time.
So with your free gift, the giveaway, the 5-day challenge is figuring out your audience part of that challenge?
So what I've done with the 5-day challenge is, figuring out your audience can be a very long and involved process because there's so many different moving parts, and it depends on where you're coming from. There are plenty of people who already have a buyer persona and or an avatar. They have an idea of who their buyers are, but maybe they need to define it a little bit more. Or there are people who don't have anything like that at all. So what I've done with the 5-day challenge is I've just gone over the really top level. We talk about the big picture. So you have a website. Wonderful. And now we're going to look at what are the most common issues or obstacles I see on websites for people that they can really do really quickly. What can they change or what can they test really fast to see if it'll give them better conversions? And then, later you can dive into the audience. But the first day does kind of dive into a little bit about needing to know your audience, because the first part of knowing your audience is making sure that the messaging that's on your website, of course, is going to match and let them know that they're in the right place. And that's day one. Day one kind of lays out how that happens and lays out, what you need to do, how to do it, and one quick step you can do to improve your website.
That's really super because, if anybody who's been around, that you've seen the evolution of websites. And back in the day, they weren't that easy to make because you had to know code, HTML. I remember actually going and taking HTML coding classes to make websites. And of course, now things are simpler. But back in the day, I would say that most websites were just like a brochure. That's what they were. So what type of advice would you give someone that one thing that they could do like right now that would improve their website, bringing it up to standards of 2020?
Absolutely. So the number one thing I would tell people to do is not to visit their website first, because so many of us are really, really close to what we do. We know everything about what we do. We know all of the tips, all of the tools, all of the tricks, that it's a little hard for us to explore what it's like for a new person to land on our website. So what I tell people to do is I say, okay, go to a competitor's website. They have a similar product or service to what you do. And you need to set a timer. And that timer is for 8 seconds, because online you have about 8 seconds to capture someone's attention. Now notice I said capture, not sell. So basically you just have 8 seconds to convince somebody they're in the right place. And then from there, you can buy some more time from them. So what I say is, okay, go to a competitor's website, set your timer for 8 seconds. And in 8 seconds, can you answer 3 important questions? Who they are, or who they serve, what do they do, and why should the reader stick around? So if you're a new person landing on that website, and can you answer those 3 questions? Because those are the 3 questions you need to answer within that 8-second period. So once you go to a competitor's website, now you're in the right mindset of, oh, I am not somebody who knows everything about this company. Then you can go to your own website and conduct the same test.
That's a really good, simple test. And I think it's interesting. 8 seconds. It used to be, again, I've been around a little while, but I used to create videos and marketing. And if you remember, TV commercials were 30 seconds or a minute. And now I see a lot of little 15-second commercials, and they repeat them over and over and over again in a 2-minute block. So you'll see the same commercial, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times within this period of time. But I think a goldfish has a longer attention span than an average human does now, right?
That's correct. Goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds, and humans online have about 8 seconds to capture their attention. But unlike goldfish, you can keep our attention for longer. It's just you have to be able to answer those kinds of questions and make sure people are in the right place to buy that extra attention.
So once you've done some of these simple things, what is more important on a website, the words or the visuals?
So I'm a strong believer. It's really funny. I was just talking about this on one of my podcasts, actually talking to a designer about how copy and the visuals, they go hand in hand. You'll hear a lot of people who are talking about, oh, the copy is the most important. Or you'll hear people who say the layout and the design is the most important. And honestly, the way I look at it is they kind of need to go hand in hand. The visuals need to reflect the copy, and the copy needs to reflect the visuals. And especially online nowadays, if you go to a website that hasn't been updated since the early 2000s, it's really, really obvious. And so for a user who is a modern day user, if they land on a site like that, they think that the company hasn't paid attention, or they think that no one is behind the scenes, if you will, updating things. So then that, right there, the visual is more important then, because if it looks too old, they wonder, well, are these people who are still, operating their company? But on the same hand, you'll sometimes go to really well modern designed websites, and the copy is about, a giveaway that was 6 months ago, or the link leads to some place that isn't proper, or they've started to serve a new audience, but the copy and the visuals don't reflect that new audience. So for me, copy and visuals go hand in hand, and you need to make sure that both of them are up to date. And I'd recommend to people, at least once a year, maybe even twice a year, going through your own website and just making sure that everything is still working properly, and making sure that everything that you're talking about is still exactly what you want to be putting out there.
That's really good advice, because for example, you do podcasts, I do podcasts, and sometimes people don't give you all the information you need about them. So you go to their website, and then so you harvest the information from the website, and then you come back and they'll say, oh, well, that's not right. I don't do that anymore. And it's like, well, that's what your website said. So that's a really good example of why you need to keep updated. And I have seen websites, and you can tell that they were from, the early 2000s, because they have that look of being old, and it does make you wonder about, does this person not care, or are they just too busy, or there's a lot of things, because that most people, they do have come up with whatever the scenario in their head is about what that might mean. And it might not really mean anything other than, oh, I'm not really focused on my website. That makes me ask the question, how important is your website, and what else is important? Because I know you focus on, the audience conversion method, and our branding or our image, it goes beyond our website. It's our social media, it's our videos. What is really important as that expands out? Is your website your focal point, or what else should we be looking at?
So that's one of those questions that no one likes the answer to, because the answer is it depends. But what I would tell people is it depends on your audience. So the most important question is, how are people finding you? What is the first interaction that people are going to have with your company? A lot of us, we're really inquisitive, we're really curious. And if we have a question or we have a problem, we turn to Google or Siri or Alexa and we ask questions. So is the first time someone going to, maybe we're really big fans of Quora or Reddit, so we go and ask questions there. Or maybe, we're a huge fan of social media, so we're hanging out on Twitter, searching hashtags, saying what people are saying about something, that kind of a thing. So I would say that your website is still very important, because basically anytime somebody's going to meet you, anytime someone's going to hear about you, the first thing they're going to want to do is go to your website. Even if they don't spend a very long time on it, they want to make sure that you have one. So definitely you need to have a website. It needs to be up to date. It needs to be modern, all of that good things. But it also is what I look at is basically your entire marketing should all agree with each other, because it's about your voice. It's about your branding. It's about, kind of the way you approach customer service should be a reflection in your marketing. So it's not just the website that needs to have all these good things, but if you have social media, are you using it the way that people would want to interact with you on social media? So the question about what is the really important thing you need to do, I would say the really important thing to do is twofold. Number one, you do need to have a website, and it needs to have that information, and it needs to be easy to use. And then also you need to have a way to interact with people on a more personal basis. So either being very active on social media, or, I recommend people get people into their own ecosystems. So having a really great email interaction with people. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to have to send a single message to like all 1,532 people on your list, but it does mean having a really great approach for keeping in touch with people through email, whether that's a weekly email, whether that's twice weekly, whether that's we don't want to bother you, so we're going to only let you know about new product updates. It's up to you to decide how you want to do that, but having the really great material that reflects who you are as a company.
It's funny because way back when you were talking about Alexa and Siri, I was chuckling to myself because obviously sometimes when you ask those questions, it doesn't understand. And I end up cussing and swearing at Alexa and Siri, because it's like they're stupid, as if they're real humans, and of course they're not. But you talked about the email and the relationship. It's, I live in this marketing world, and sometimes you'll hear people that go, oh, email is dead. This is dead, and it's all a bunch of hype about that. But that conversation that you can have with people with email, that makes me wonder, for example, so let's say that you do a weekly update on email. For example, with Daily Success, my intention is that it'll be an evergreen giveaway. So I'll be telling people as things get updated. I'll have new people coming on board to tell the people about. So I'll have real news to be communicating to the people who end up coming into the daily success ecosystem. And so to me, I'm thinking, hey, that sounds good to me because it'd be fresh, interesting, relevant information. I wanted to ask you, since you come from copywriting and conversions, sometimes I get newsletters in my email, and sometimes they'll have a sister newsletter that I'll get in my physical mail. How do you think newsletters or the newsletter format is effective in today's marketing arena?
So one of the things I tell people to avoid actually when talking about email is to avoid the word newsletter. And that's because while being able to keep in touch with people, if it's monthly, if it's weekly, if it's daily, if you use the term newsletter, for a lot of people, that doesn't imply what the benefit is enough. So if you say, oh, sign up for my newsletter, and I'm, let's say I am looking for a copywriter. Well, do I need another newsletter? I don't know, because my inbox is already so very full. But if you tell me that every week you're going to reach out and let me know about 3 conversion hacks, or if you're going to tell me insights about the newest updates on marketing tools, or, subscribe to get all of the best tips, tools, and resources to make sure that your marketing is compliant and beneficial to your audience, well, then that's a reason for me to sign up. So when you ask about the newsletter format, to me, just regular communication of any kind is really great for a company to have with their audience. And while a traditional, if you will, newsletter format of, here's our latest updates, here's what we've been up to, I think those have a place. Some people really like to work with companies who have a particular type of company culture. So if you're able to give that information out, let people know that, yeah, you're actively working on the concerns they have, that's always useful. But it may be one of those things where once a month you send out the traditional newsletter, but the other 3 weeks of the month, you're sending out content, or you're sending out insights, or you're sending out exactly what you promised them, which was, why they signed up for your list in the first place, because they wanted information about something in particular.
So for example, in my case, where I'm thinking that I want to update people and say, hey, we've got new giveaways, from these people, or maybe you missed this one. In your opinion, would you consider that valuable information to contact somebody and say, hey, we've got 3 new giveaways at Daily Success. This is what they are. Come check them out.
I would definitely consider those useful and valuable as long as you, expand a little bit more. So yes, there's new giveaways, but then, give me a tease, give me a hint of why I should go check that one out. If you're struggling with, like you opened this episode. Like
this one, it's like, hey, we've got the audience conversion method, and, maybe, for example, you have the opportunity to update your giveaway at any time. It could be, hey, Kimberly has a new audience conversion method hack, that you can get that's different than what you got the first time, something like that. I mean, I in my mind, I can see it would be like, I'd be really excited to get something like, oh my goodness, something's new. Because I like free stuff. But it has to be value. It
Absolutely.
Can't be anything. But that brings me to the question about, how do I get more conversions from my email list?
So the way to get more conversions from your email list, obviously, is for me, everything needs to have a plan. You need to have a plan set out on how you want to interact with people and what your ultimate goal is. So a lot of people, I'll talk with them and I'll say, okay, what's going to be a success? Oh, well, I have more conversions. And I say, okay, conversions for what? Or how do you want more conversions? Or what would a successful increase in your conversion look like? So it's setting really solid goals first. For a lot of people, they'll say something like, oh, I want to grow my email list. And I said, okay, so let's say you grow your email list. What is the purpose of that? Why do you want to grow your email list? well, then you have a next step and a next step and a next step. So it's always a mix between what are your goals, having a defined definition of the success for your goals, and then also being able to bring that really great customer service to your emails. So you'll hear the term a lot, know, like, and trust factor in marketing, which means basically that people need to know who you are. They have to like you and they have to trust you in order for them to buy from you. So for me, one of the best methods to do that is to, drop little interesting facts into your emails, also give a lot of value, and then kind of showcase what you've done in the past that showcases why people might want to take your advice over somebody else's. So it's a mix of, and it's also, providing that really great customer service experience, that really great customer experience, so that, those very first few emails that you send out, they are going to set the tone. So if somebody opens your first 3 and don't like them, they're not going to open the rest of them. They may not unsubscribe for a really long time because that's an extra step, but they may not like the rest of what you send. However, if those first 3 emails, really explain who you are, what you do, who you serve, how you've helped people in the past, the values and the ideals of your company, and also gave really great information, well, then every time an email from you lands in my inbox, I want to open it.
All of that's really good advice. It's interesting because there's certain emails like a tip of the week or a video of the week. It's interesting because what always gets me is you get it only once a week, but because time goes by so fast, you notice it when it comes in. And if I think it's valuable, I actually do open it up and I read the whole thing, or I watch the video and I interact with the, I'll go to the website. So everything you're saying makes perfect sense. And in my mind, I'm actually imagining the people who are doing that effectively because I'm keeping, I actually open their emails and I interact. And then there's people that they bombard you with, I don't know. So I've had some where I was getting 5 emails a day, trying to sell me something. And I didn't really want to unsubscribe, but I did use one of those tools where I don't know what it does, but it makes them disappear. so that I didn't really unsubscribe, but I'm not seeing it because I don't know, sometimes you don't want to hurt that person's feelings. So you just do something or ignore it. I ignore a lot of stuff, but I'm probably an exception because I subscribe a lot because I'm interested in seeing how other people market. So I like to look at that. So with what you're doing, again, the 5-day challenge, what's the end result for them when they take the 5-day challenge for your audience conversion method? What is going to happen for them at the end of that 5 days that will show them that, whoa, I really made a good decision to participate?
Yeah, definitely. So what's going to happen at the end of 5 days? It's actually going to happen at the end of each day. So each day is a step-by-step plan on something you can test for your website. And I use the word test because everyone's audience is different. So what works for one person's audience may or may not work for your audience. So what I've done is I've gathered 5 really common areas and obstacles I see on websites today. And a good portion of the time it's going to affect you. And then what you can do is, it's a little information about what the obstacle is, and then it's an action step. So every day the email ends with an action step. It's an email course, right? It's really easy to subscribe to. So every day at the end, you'll have a single action step to take for a way to improve your website. And then what do you have at the end of 5 days? You have a much more easier website to navigate. You have a lot of different ideas about what may or may not be working in your marketing. And then, you can sit back and for 30 days, look at your numbers. Do people stay on your website longer? Do people Do more people come to your website? Are you getting more people into your email list? Are you getting more interaction with your audience? All of those types of things. So at the end of each day, you'll have a single action step, and it's something really fast, because what I've noticed is, a lot of us hear about a new marketing initiative and we're really super excited about it because it has so much potential. But if it takes 4 hours to set up, well, then suddenly our enthusiasm goes a little bit downhill because we don't have that kind of time. So what I've set out to do with the 5-day challenge is to create something that people can do within 10 minutes or less every day that can make a huge impact or a huge change to what they have out there already. And it's a first step, right? It's not going to be, a complete remodel of your website, because that's going to take more than 10 minutes a day. But it is something actionable that you can do every day, because people like to have a plan. They like to have a goal. And I've created a few for them.
That is really super, because it makes it very actionable so that you can really have exactly what I keep talking about, daily success. So with that, I just want to really thank you, Kimberly, and everyone. Go get your audience conversion method 5-day challenge, because think about it, 10 minutes a day, and in 5 days, you basically spend about an hour, and you'll see some success and improvements in your website. And before I let you go, if somebody wants to reach out before then, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
So the best way to get in contact with me is to check out my website at theaudienceconverter.com. And if you go to theaudienceconverter.com, you can see the area about the challenge. And there's also a section where if you have a project idea in mind, if you already know that you are wanting to increase conversions, then you can sign up to have a quick chat to talk about your project and see if we're a good fit.
Well, thank you so much. And everyone, you can have daily success. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Daily Success. Tune in again and subscribe. Never miss a moment of daily success.